Breaker Broke 23. I am going to show you guys the KAIY C36. This is a Bluetooth 5.3 receiver with USB input. And this is also going to be a first video in a new series that I'm going to be doing here featuring low budget, or shall I say entry-level Bluetooth receivers. Let's get going. Okay, so in the box, first of all, we get the Bluetooth device itself. This is a pretty interesting little device. It's fairly compact. I'm not really sure what this is on the front. This may be for another device that they manufacture in this lineup. We have a USB-A input, so we can use thumb drives. So if you load up playlists and stuff on your thumb drive, you can plug that right into that, to the C36, which I really like. I used to do this back in the day for audio, and I would just do like road trip playlists and stuff. So this is kind of cool to see again. Over here, we have a track forward and backwards, and then we have the push button to toggle between modes. We have a multi-function button. This is a push button as well as a rotary control. And this is a rotary volume control. Very interesting, and I'll get to that in a few minutes. On the back panel, we have RCA jacks, so analog audio out, left and right. We have optical output or Toslink out, and then auxiliary output. This is a 3.5 millimeter stereo connector. And then we have our input. This is a USB-C input and a non-removable yet adjustable antenna. Included in the C36, we have a user manual. And I actually like this user's manual. This is a pretty easy user manual to follow. We have a optical cable. And this is going to be around 2.5 feet. We have a USB-A to USB-C cable. This is for powering the device from either a wall adapter or a portable battery, or maybe your laptop or home computer. We have a 3.5 to 3.5 male-to-male auxiliary cord here. And I thought this was interesting. We have a 3.5 millimeter stereo to RCA male. Now, I think this is kind of redundant here to have both of these. Honestly, I'd really like to see another, RCA male-to-male plug if I'm going to have this. If I'm not going to get this in the kit, then yeah, I think this is totally acceptable. But anyway, that is what it is. All right, so this is a top-selling unit on Amazon, or shall I say one of the top-selling units. They sell about 1,000 of these per month. It comes in at about $17 to $24 for a price point. I paid $17, but I've seen it fluctuate various prices. But anyway, you're actually getting a lot for the money as far as features go. One thing that this does, I don't have this hooked up to a stereo at the moment because I'm out here in the studio filming this, but the Bluetooth device, when you go into Bluetooth pairing mode, it has a voice prompt, and it plays that through your speakers via the either the RCA or the optical output. And I'll do a little clip of that and insert it here.
Power on, Bluetooth mode, waiting for connection.
But anyway, what we have when we turn the device on is we have the Bluetooth, or shall I say BT, flashing here. And this means it's in the pairing mode, and when you pair it to a device, then it will just stay solidly lit. When you plug a USB thumb drive into it, it will let us know that we're playing a USB drive. And then again, we're going to do tracks forward and backwards. Doesn't really give you the number of the track or anything like that, but you could just, randomly go through it, and that's kind of cool. Okay, and then we're going to go back to the Bluetooth mode. This is basically a mode button. Okay, pretty interesting. And then you push and hold, it will turn the device off. You push and hold, and it will turn the device back on. So yeah, pretty basic, pretty simple to operate. And I have not peeled the protective film off of here yet, so it may look a little funky on the camera. But overall, you know, it's a $17 device. I got to be quite honest with you. It is Bluetooth 5.3. It does cover most of my home. That's upstairs and downstairs as far as reception goes using my iPhone. And it has about the same coverage that most all of my other Bluetooth receivers have. So the Bluetooth 5.3 technology is fine. Now, before I get into the nastiness or the things that I don't like about this, I do want to tell you a couple things that makes it kind of flexible, okay? So again, we have our RCA output here, so you could plug this into any of your vintage stereo gear. If you have a modern piece of equipment or a modern type receiver with optical in, you could utilize that and then use your stereo receiver's DAC, okay? Or you can go auxiliary output, which makes it flexible for hooking up to car stereos. And you can do it with like a little remote battery pack. I just ran in and borrowed this from my better half to power it up, and it'll work for several hours on a setup like that. So theoretically, you could take this into the car with you if you have a stereo system in your vehicle that has an auxiliary in plug. Then you could plug from the back of this into the front of your vehicle and enjoy Bluetooth technology as well as road trip music on your thumbstick if you want to, you know, do something like that. Okay, speaking about flexibility as far as powering this up with like an auxiliary pack or something like this and taking this mobile with you, you know, and then of course using like an AC wall adapter like on a power strip or plugged into the back of your stereo if your stereo has that, then you could have more of a, you know, a base station or a more permanent type setup. Another thing that you can do with this is plug your headphones into this. Now I have some Audio-Technica. They're not low-end headphones. They're about mid-grade headphones, I would say, and they're very low impedance. I believe they're around 75 to 85 ohms, something like that. So if you have low impedance headphones, this will drive a set of headphones, and you could listen to your favorite Bluetooth stuff with your headphones. And so this is basically kind of doubling as a little headphone amplifier. And I kind of knew that when I saw this on Amazon. Now, they don't really say this in the description, but whenever you see something with a volume control on it, that is going to, usually in most cases, that is going to allow us to use this as a small headphone amp. Again, for Bluetooth or whatever source the device will let you have. So that's kind of an interesting feature, kind of a bonus feature that really wasn't mentioned. So while we have all the features, you know, we have all the operational features that we need, you know, with the external antenna that greatly improves the range, the extra input, the volume control, etc., etc. When I see a device like this, usually in the higher end market, this will allow me a little bit extra preamp output, a little bit more RCA output, I guess is what I could say. Have you ever had your stereo, you know, you turn on your stereo, you're listening to either AM or FM, or maybe a cassette if you have a cassette player, or a DVD, and then you plug in another device like maybe your cell phone or maybe something like this, and you notice that about half of your volume is gone and you have to turn that volume knob up considerably higher for your external device to match the other things that you were listening to. So when you have a device like this with a volume output control, you can usually adjust this drive to make a device like this equal to another piece of gear that you are using, whether it's a DVD player, a CD player, a DVR, whatever. So I like that feature. However, with this device, this feature goes a little over the top. This creates a lot of distortion. And I noticed something with this device. When I had the RCAs plugged into my test receiver here, and just for the heck of it, I plugged my headphones into here to see if there was any difference in syncing or difference in any output level. What I'm trying to do by doing that is I'm trying to get a feel of how this thing is designed without actually cracking it open, because they've actually like super glued this puppy together. Well, the deal is they're sharing this output and this output at the same time. So when I plugged headphones into here, it drew signal away from the RCA jack. So that's telling me, in my opinion, and again, I can't get into it, so I really can't reverse engineer the device. But what that's telling me is, this is where the $17 to $24 factor comes in. They're trying to get everything off of the preamp or the little miniature op amp that they've got in here, and they did not divide these. Now, a lot of Bluetooth devices, all the outputs work at the same time, but I do have some higher end Bluetooth devices that when you plug into this jack with some headphones, it will not draw down off of here, even though they're all active at the same time. It's just a different circuit. So they eliminated that with this and just made one circuit do everything. Am I okay with that? Yeah, generally I am. However, that's proving again the weakness of this little buffer amp circuit in here, and this is where this distortion comes in. So when I A/B compare this against like my bench unit, I'm using a Blafilli B3 right now for a bench unit, and in order to get this device to put out as much RCA output level as the Blafilli B3, or basically any of my other test devices, what happens is this starts creating a lot of distortion. Now, you can't hear this. This goes from like, what was that, 1 to 31, I believe, or 1 to 32. And I'll just show you here numerically. But basically, with our volume control here turned to about 27, this is where I get the same output level as most of my other higher end Bluetooth devices. Problem is, when I get to this level at 27, this is where I've got noticeable distortion where I can actually hear it. So if I turn it down, and this is kind of a weird design, but if I turn it down to, 21, 22, 23, somewhere right in there, I don't get that distortion. The problem is I have a lower output level here, RCA-wise. In turn, that means you need to turn your volume control up on your stereo, and then you lost the headroom from your stereo amplifier. And I'll do a video on that sometime down the road and explain that, because it can be a bit confusing. But anyway, needless to say, is it worth $17 to $24? I'm going to kind of say this. I'm not going to say no, but I'm not going to say yes. All right. I have had companies send me devices that are in a higher price range that have a, let's say, not so good a sound as this. So I think that if you just want to dabble around in Bluetooth and try it out and see if Bluetooth's even for you, I would say that this unit would be okay, but that distortion level could drive you nuts. Would this be a great first-time Bluetooth device for maybe a child or something like that? I would say yes, because it takes it takes the human ear quite a while to actually hear this distortion. But when you get up into its maximum level, 30, 31 and stuff like that, the distortion is definitely there. You will definitely hear that on a home stereo and a decent set of headphones. So I'm going to give this like a 1 thumbs up and a 1 thumbs down. I'm kind of 50-50 on this. So if you're not too sure about Bluetooth and you're thinking of trying it out, you may want to try this device. I have not had any glitching with this. I've not had any interference from other Bluetooth devices or my home router, which is in the room next to my test room. Some devices have failed in that department, and this has not. So anyway, I'm going to kind of leave this up to you. Again, it does have some nice features. I do like the flexibility of it. However, it's that distortion problem. Now, it has a pretty high rating on Amazon. Now, I'm not the type of person that believes in Amazon ratings, because there's a lot of people, and I don't mean to be rude, but there's a lot of people leaving reviews on Amazon that literally have no idea what they're talking about. They'll down something just because they can't figure out how to turn it on, or they can't figure out how to pair it or something like that. That's not the company's problem. That's the user's issue. as far as that goes. And then you have the influencers that will tell you everything's good. This channel is not all that. Okay, so again, with that thumbs up, thumbs down thing, this is kind of like a 50-50 device. I would rate this from a 1 through 10. I would rate this somewhere around a 4.5 to a 5. I would rate the sound quality at a lower level up at around a 5 or a 6. But again, when you start getting this up to match your amplifier as far as the output level of your other devices, there's just too much distortion in it for me. So there you go. That is my take on the C36. I think it's more basically for a first-time Bluetooth user that really doesn't want to spend much money and just kind of see if this whole wireless Bluetooth thing is for them. There's a lot of people out there that are just, you know, not familiar with this, and maybe you don't want to spend $100, $150, $200, and you want something like this. This, by the way, would work out pretty good for a car stereo because of all of that, you know, background noise that you have going on in a vehicle. You can get this level up, and for you folks out there that have plugged an auxiliary device through a cord like this into your car stereo, and you have to just jack that volume control up on that car stereo so much, you might want to try something like this. This volume control is going to give you some more gain. In that car environment, you're not right directly in front of your speakers. Like when I heard this noise come up, I was sitting in front of a pair of my Klipsch Herseys. And with a speaker like that, you can hear stuff like this really easily. In a car environment, you probably wouldn't pick that up. So if you want to maybe have an inexpensive device for your car stereo to use auxiliary, this may be the unit for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a good day. Stay tuned for the next video in our new series of low-end Bluetooth devices. Thanks for watching.